Hi, Martin Road second graders. It's Mrs. Marson again. Today is Monday, May 18th, and our reading passage today is going to focus on characters, who is in the story, and setting, where the story takes place. So let's get started. Today we will read Up in the Mountains, and as I said before, character and setting is our reading strategy that we're going to focus on today, our learning target. As always, you should read 3 times. So we'll read it together and then read it twice more to continue to work on your fluency and your accuracy when you are reading. Up in the Mountains. My name is Caden. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. It is a valley with mountains all around it. My dad and I are going to have a picnic in the mountains today. We drive higher and higher up the mountain. Dad parks the car and we get out. We walk across a bridge over a small stream and find a picnic table. The mountains are beautiful. The air feels fresh and crisp. There are pine trees all around. I can smell the wonderful scent of the pine needles. I can hear the birds chirping in the trees. They seem to be calling back and forth to each other. Maybe they are friends. Dad pulls out a few turkey sandwiches and 2 apples. We eat our food and then go for a hike. We walk about the trees, careful not to step on the flowers or plants. We see a light brown deer run across the trail. It was a perfect day. Okay, so our strategy practice, we are to underline the words or sentences that help you picture the setting. So we're going to go back up to our passage and we're going to underline anything that tells us where the story takes place, because that is what the setting means. So I see the name of a city, Salt Lake City, Salt Lake City, Utah. So this is the name of the city. When you see a comma, that means this is the state. So the city is Salt Lake City, and it's in the state of Utah, very far from where we live. And then I see the words valley with mountains all around it. Remember, if you have a mountain, so here's a mountain, okay? And then you could have another mountain, and you could have another mountain. Down below here, that's where the valley is. So I see valley with mountains all around. I see mountains again. And as I look, I see that they're going to have a picnic, but that's not really a setting because where they're going to have the picnic is going to be in the mountains. And if I glance through the passage, I don't see any more words or sentences that tell me about the setting. Okay, so I've completed this first part. Now I'm going to go down to the skill practice. I'm going to start with red crayon, red marker, whatever you have. And it says, which set of words describe the mountains? Wet, sandy, warm. Ugly, dry, cold. Beautiful, crisp, green. Snowy, cold, dry. So let's go back up here and see if I see any word. Right here I see the mountains are, I see this is a describing word, beautiful. The air feels fresh, another describing word, crisp. Let's go back down here. And let's see if I see anything here. Well, I see beautiful, crisp green. When I think of green, are you thinking the same thing I am? I am thinking of trees. And it says in the passage that there are pine trees all around. So the correct answer would be letter C, beautiful, crisp, green. Let's look at number 2. Pick up my yellow twistable. The birds are asleep in their nests, are chirping in the trees, are eating nuts and seeds, are fighting. So let's go back up here again. I can hear the birds chirping in the trees, and I think that that was a choice down here. So we're using our passage, boys and girls, and finding the text evidence to help us answer the questions. The birds are chirping in the trees. Now, could birds be asleep in their nests? Sure they could. Could birds be eating nuts and seeds? Yes, they could. Could birds fight? I don't see why not. So birds could do all of these things, but remember, we want to use what is in our passage. Find the answer in the passage. These are all things, again, birds can do, but this is the correct answer because it comes right from the passage that correctly answers the question. Number 3, what is the setting of the story? Oh, I think we looked at this quite a bit. So with my blue, we know that we're in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we know that it is a valley with mountains all around it. So that is what I'm going to write. I'm going to use my pen, and I am going to write Salt Lake City, comma, Utah, and I'm going to put a valley with mountains all around. Okay, so that is a little bit more descriptive than just writing a valley with mountains all around. We have to include both. We have to include where. It's in Salt Lake City, Utah, so that is why I have added both. So you can copy it from here. You can certainly use your passage if you're not sure how to spell things. You remember doing that in school, I'm sure. Salt Lake City, Utah, a valley with mountains all around. Number 4, why do you think Caden calls his picnic and hike a perfect day? So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to look to see. Oh, here it is. It was a perfect day. So Dad pulls out a few turkey sandwiches and 2 apples. We eat our food and then go for a hike. We walk about the trees, careful not to step on the flowers or plants. We see a light brown deer run across the trail. So boys and girls, for this time, for answering this question, we're not going to look at the passage and get an answer from the passage. We instead are going to think about why we think Caden calls his picnic and hike a perfect day. So when we want to answer questions like that, sometimes it's a good idea to pretend that you are Caden. So if you were going to go on a hike and have a picnic with your dad, what would make that a perfect day for you? Why would that be a perfect day for you? And if I think about that, I think that Caden calls this the perfect day because he likes being outside in nature. He likes eating outside, having a picnic outside. He likes going for a hike and looking at the animals in nature. Remember, they found a deer. and also seeing what is growing, the trees. And he can hear the birds chirping. So if I was Caden, I would call it a perfect day because I like to be outside in nature. So I'm going to write Caden likes to be outside in nature. That's why he calls it a perfect day. Now you might have the same idea that I did, or you may have your own idea. But think like Caden would, and why would you consider this the perfect day? I hope, boys and girls, that as the weather gets nicer, you're going outside a little bit. Of course, social distancing, but getting outside a little bit and enjoying nature. See you tomorrow.